Good afternoon. It is Friday, the 12th of April, 2024, and this is the Week 7 Focus video update for MH510 in the spring of 2024. This week we're going to be talking about New Left history, the consensus ain't the consensus no more, and you're going to be turning in your annotated bibliography and research update. There is no update from the compound this week. So let's just jump right into the questions. There's two discussion questions as usual now. Although not limited to the U.S., the New Left School of History developed most fully in the United States during the late 1950s and through the early 1980s, though its effects are still widely felt. It arose largely as a reaction to the consensus national school and as a result of the civil rights movement and the protests against both the Vietnam War and the prospect of nuclear war. Based on your reading thus far in Arnold, Gaddis, Novick, Tosh, Truman, and Williams, what are three characteristics of the New Left? What do you think the strengths of this approach are, and what weaknesses exist with the New Left approach? Your second discussion question is, how does the New Left School of History differ from Marxist history? The topic of this week's discussion. First, what is the New Left? There are several takes below, as well as the material covered in the readings. I especially recommend to you the Quillette article by a professor who is a self-described New Leftist. Very interesting take from him. Understand the historiographic school is not precisely aligned with the political New Left. New Left history tends to be history from below or social history. Don't forget what are its strengths and weaknesses, as well as the three characteristics that should all be in your thesis statement. As always, the links from this slide can be used as required reading for your primary post. It's not required reading, but you can use it as an assigned reading for your primary post. Second question is, how does the New Left School of History differ from Marxist history? I would approach this by comparing and contrasting the characteristics you developed in Week 6 for Marxist history and Week 7 for New Left. I would then compare and contrast the strengths and weaknesses of Week 6 and Week 7. Then develop your thesis. Start off your post with that thesis, expanding, explaining, and defending that thesis with evidence from multiple sources. So even though I talk about thesis last here, thesis up front in the discussion question, but in order to get to that thesis, you would have to compare and contrast the characteristics, compare and contrast the strengths and weaknesses in your own header and notes, and then develop your thesis of how does it differ, and then go on from there. Okay. Your annotated bibliography is due this week, and annotated bibliography is used as a stepping stone toward completion of major research projects. As such, it serves to encapsulate the main arguments, notable features, and connections between the source and your topic. For this coming Sunday, the 21st, not like the 14th, the 21st of April, complete an annotated bibliography for your historiographic essay. See the Week 10 historiographic essay for requirements on that, if you're unclear. Your annotated bibliography should include 5 books and 10 journal articles, scholarly journal articles. Each entry should contain correct bibliographic detail per the Chicago Manual of Style requirements, as well as approximately 1 paragraph of text, and I'll get into what that should cover here in a minute. For relevant details, see some examples and some other, pieces on how to do an annotated bibliography. Respond to the following in your annotated bibliography and provide a research update. Okay, some questions. What is each author's overall thesis? There may be writing a book about the Mexican-American War, and your thesis is about Winfield Scott's Veracruz campaign. So the author is going to have an overall thesis about the Mexican-American War, but in the chapters dealing with Winfield Scott and the Veracruz amphibious operation, there will also be an argument there. So what is each author's overall thesis, and then what is each author's argument in terms of your topic? So that's where that comes in. How does the author's background and perspective influence his or her product? This does not have to be a full-blown author analysis, just the high points. What types of evidence do they use? For this, obviously, they use primary and secondary sources. Now, let's drill down a little deeper. And I'm really interested in the primary sources they use. Are they using letters and diaries? Are they using memoirs? Are they using government documents? Excuse me. Probably going to be a couple more of those. It's spring in Southwest Missouri. Letters and diaries, statistical data. What kind of primary sources are they using? How does it fit into your topic? What general school of interpretation? Excuse me again. So how does it fit into your topic? What general school of interpretation is it? Is it, nationalist, traditionalist, von Rankian school? Is it progressive? Is it consensus, Marxist, whatever? What school of interpretation with regard to the topic itself? So we've got these big schools. You may not be able to identify for sure what kind of big school the person's from, other than by the date they went to school, the date it was published. That would give you some kind of indication. But most topics, there are schools of interpretation on the topic itself. And I'm going to use the example of the A-bomb here as an exemplar of these differing interpretation. So was the A-bomb a military necessity? Was it a warning to the Soviets? Was it wrapped up in racism against the Japanese? What is the school of interpretation about the topic itself? Where does it fit into that? All right. Your annotated bibliography, the research update. Your research update should address these questions. What is your topic? Remind me of that. How has your research to date affected your topic? Have you narrowed it? Have you broadened it? Have you thrown it out and started something totally new from what you proposed earlier? What techniques have produced the most fruitful lines of search and which have been the least fruitful? What problems do you anticipate in terms of this term's historiographic essay and in terms of the potential for this topic as a capstone topic? What questions do you have? What problems are you having so that I can offer some assistance if possible? All right, your annotated bibliography, the formatting, cover sheet and title page, 12-point Times New Roman font in the body text, 10-point Times New Roman font in the footnotes. The bibliographic information is in the bibliography format with a hanging indet and single-spaced. Annotations can be either single-spaced or double-spaced. I'm not real concerned about that. Please double-space the research update. Do not forget the naming convention. And it is due Sunday evening at 11:59 p.m., April 21st at 11:59. So there we go. Y'all take care, stay safe, and I'll see you around the campus. Bye-bye.